I owe a mortgage amount of student loans. Yep, that's how much I owe. And I have paid $165,356 towards this amount. But here's the thing. When I started, okay, I owed $96,000. So again, I borrowed $96,000. I have paid $165,356.46, and I still owe $220,810.73. Let me explain to you how I got in this predicament. I have a bachelor's degree and a master's degree. I am a PA, and I make good money. I'm not gonna lie. Unfortunately, that good money is still not enough to pay this, right? And so I worked for a nonprofit hospital for the first 2.5 years out of school. My plan was to work for that hospital for a decade and apply for public service loan forgiveness, okay? I even asked our HR department, does this qualify? And they said yes, and that numerous of my colleagues are also eligible and they have filled out the paperwork and they are working towards loan forgiveness. But for some reason, when I applied and I filled out the paperwork online, on paper, I did it literally 8 times. That's not an exaggeration. I got denied 8 out of 8 times to even make payments towards the public service loan forgiveness grant. The Department of Education decided that me, and only me, at my entire hospital works for a for-profit hospital, but all of my coworkers, they work for a nonprofit hospital, despite us working for the same hospital. Now, I called the Department of Education numerous times, and I explained the scenario to them numerous times, and I, at one point, was on hold for 8 hours to talk to somebody, and then when I finally got a hold of them, they said, "There's a glitch, and I don't know how to help you." Cool, that's great, thank you. So after 2.5 years of making payments and stuff, and all of them not even being counted towards the PSLF, Public Service Loan Forgiveness, I thought, why am I working here? I don't even want to work here. I was only doing it for this reason, and so I'm gonna leave. Something I also failed to mention is that since graduating, my loan has been in forbearance. I never put it in forbearance. In fact, I even signed up for the income-driven repayment plan. I signed up later for the SAVE plan. I kept submitting my income. I have submitted my taxes. My loan has been in forbearance, and I have been making these payments on my own because when your loan is in forbearance, you cannot sign up for automatic payments. You have to just keep dropping it on your own. Again, I called the Department of Education and explained this to them, that I don't know why I'm in forbearance. I'm trying to make payments. I am making the payments. Get the forbearance status off of my loan so I can sign up for auto pay so I don't have to log in here and look at this number and have a panic attack every month. They said, we don't know why it's in forbearance and we can't get it out of forbearance. There's a glitch. That's also part of the reason you're not eligible for the public service loan forgiveness, because you're in forbearance. I graduated in 2022. I have been in forbearance status for 4 years and I can't get out of it. Now, my servicer is Mohila, which has been sued for doing this exact same thing to its borrowers. I am trying not to cry at this point. I am going to just be in debt forever because I have borrowed less than half of this amount. I have paid almost double what I even borrowed in the first place, and I owe so much money. I am running backwards at this point. I don't think I'm gonna ever pay this off in my lifetime. And the Department of Education, Mohila, is literally making it so that I can't, no matter how hard I try. For those of you who say that you shouldn't borrow money or whatever, if you can't pay it back, and you guys don't believe in loan forgiveness and whatever because we borrowed it, I'm telling you, I want to pay it back. I literally can't. I have paid it back and then some. I can't do this, and no matter what I do, I'm stuck. And I chose a career where I am a civil servant for the rest of my life. Does this mean I need to be punished like this? Also, if there's some kind of lawyer that knows anything about the whole Mohila lawsuit and can help me out with how to be involved in it and how to, put my name in for somebody who has been in this situation and literally can't get out of forbearance, can't pay it, let me know.
Some things they don't tell you about paying student loans until you're actually paying the student loans, because you're not just losing money. You're not just losing that monthly minimum payment each month and like that's gonna be enough, because that's barely gonna take care of your principal and interest payment. Like it's all gonna go to interest. Actually, it's not going to principal at all. If you make an extra payment, maybe it goes to principal, but you have to tell it to. And then additionally, when you took out those student loans that first day of freshman year at college, your interest started accruing. And for a girl like me who took out private student loans, it started accruing interest daily, each day that I went to college. So my minimum loan, I have 4 big boy loans from private student loans. My minimum one was accruing $3 of interest a day. So I took out $120,000 of private student loans, and by the time I graduated, I had $50,000 of interest accrued. Additionally, you are going to lose your motherfucking mind. You're going to lose your sense of peace, your sense of security, because all of a sudden, everything, at least for me, everything that I could think of was, oh, fuck, that should have gone to my student loan. I can't go and have fun because I need to go pay off my student loan. And I'm getting help now, which is great. But let me tell you, it is not just the minimum monthly payment that you're losing each month.
As someone with hundreds of thousands of dollars in student loan debt, and I'm not ashamed to say that, I went to 2 fantastic schools for my undergrad and graduate degree. I'll show you guys something that just continues to unmotivate me to not pay these off, and it shows you how backwards the system is. My credit score went down a point because I paid off one of my loans. Why would I pay off my loans? Then you're penalized when you do pay it off. I moved into my parents' garage so I can pay off $56,000 worth of student loan debt, and today I'll be making my first payment. Actually walking on top of my house right now, so let's get back home. My name's Sarah. I'm a 27-year-old single mom and nurse, and I moved me and my daughter into my parents' garage. And within the first year of living here, I'm planning to pay off all $56,000 worth of student loan debt. I'm calling this a student debt payoff challenge, and today is the first day that I'm making my first payment. As a reminder, I have $38,000 in federal loans and $18,000 in private loans. I'll be paying off the private loans first because of the higher interest rate. So let's go inside so we can make our first payment. To keep it real with you guys, I did already make my first payment, but that's only so I can come with receipts. So on May 27th, I made a payment of $5,330, which brings our total loan amount down to $12,768. Where this money came from exactly is a combination of a bunch of things, which include my TikTok views, money of my own, and brand deals. I cannot wait to pay these loans off because when I do, I get to reward me and my daughter, and the same thing applies when I pay off my federal loans. This is just the beginning of my student payoff journey, so if you want to watch me pay off all of my debt and see the rewards I give to me and my daughter, I'd love for you guys to follow along. And also, if you're on the same journey, comment down below how much debt you're in and how much you paid. I'll see you guys in part 2.
What Trump is doing on student loans is literally going to crash the economy. And I'll use my personal situation to show you how. And if you're one of these people at this point who is rooting for the downfall of people who have student loan debt, you're going to find out real quick that when we go down, you're going to go down too, because that's how the economy works when no one can afford to buy and sell things to each other. Because this is the impact just on me of what he has done. My payment is going to more than quadruple. I went to school for public health. Never in a million years would I have gone to school for public health and taken out the amount of money that I had to take out to get here if income-driven repayment plans were not an option. And he just closed the application to all of those plans. So my payment will be going from a percentage, a somewhat manageable percentage of my income every month, to the amount that will pay off my loans in the next 10 years. 13 million people are on these income-driven repayment plans in this country and are maybe about to have their payment double, triple, quadruple. Do you not think that's going to affect the entire economy and your job too? When tens of millions of people cannot spend money on your goods and services anymore, this is like tens of millions of people in their 20s and 30s moving back in with mom and dad type of situation because they can't literally afford an unexpected $1,000 a month student loan payment. Most of these 13 million people would not have gone to college or wouldn't have gone to the college for the career that they went for if these plans were not available when they signed those contracts. People are not trying to dupe the system. They're not trying to get out of anything. We're just trying to pay the plan that was available when we signed this contract, which was it'll be a percentage of your income. You'll be paying for the rest of your fucking life, but at least it won't be $1,000 a month on your $50,000 teacher salary.
Okay, I'm just going to come out and say it. I am in a shit ton of student debt, and I could elaborate on how that happened, but essentially I went to pharmacy school at a private institution. My student loans got paused due to COVID, and then they were just like in forbearance for 5 years. And I think I kind of thought that it was possible that maybe I would magically fly under the radar of the federal government and the Department of Education forever, and they would forget about me, and that was how my loans would get forgiven. And I just received notice this week that my forbearance was lifting and my payments would resume starting in July of this year. So we're kind of in an interesting situation now where we had previously been saving money for a house. We currently live in a 2-bedroom, 1-bath home, which works really well for us. But one of my goals, my husband's goal, is to live in a house that is conducive to multi-generational living so that our moms can live with us when they retire. I know that's not for everybody, but that's something that's really important to us. And so we've been saving aggressively towards that. But now we kind of have to shift our strategy because I've got this mountain of student loans. So first thing that we're going to do is take a look at my federal loans, which are comprised of a bunch of smaller loans. And we're going to attack the loan with the highest interest rate, which for me is 7.9%. I think the balance on that loan is $34,000. Once we knock out that loan, hopefully that will shrink our monthly payment, which I don't even know what the monthly payment is going to be. That's TBD apparently. Then we're just going to continue trying to knock them out. But if you can relate, if you are in a situation where you have a shit ton of student loans, but you're also trying to save for a house and you're trying to maybe see if it's possible at all to do that simultaneously, I hope you follow along. I also just want this to be a space where being in debt is like destigmatized, because I think that there's just a lot of like negative rhetoric towards and about people who have a ton of student loans and are hoping that they get forgiven. And it's just unfortunate that our society is set up the way it is, and it's so expensive to get an advanced degree, but that's just the reality of the world that we live in for now. So we're just trying to make the best of it. But yeah, if you can relate to that at all, I hope that you follow along, because I know that I can't be the only one in this situation.